Hello, hi, how is it going? First things first, I'm gonna need you to step 3 feet away from your computer or phone because we need to maintain proper social distancing. If you cannot tell, I've been going moderately insane with this whole isolation thing. I've been staying indoors a lot, I haven't been around a lot of people, so I figure what better to do than to come to the internet and chat about things. If you do notice that I'm wearing absolutely no makeup while talking about makeup, it is because I do not feel like putting makeup on today. It's just something that happens in my regular daily life. Some days I just don't feel like it. Today I've come to you to talk to you about palettes that used to be on my wish list that are no longer on my wish list. So for reference, I keep a wish list on my computer and phone of things that I want in the makeup realm, right? Because I don't want to buy something unless I know that it's truly been on my wish list for a while. I don't want to impulse buy. So this is one way that I keep myself accountable, especially on my low buy journey. This wish list is forever changing and evolving, but I haven't actually removed anything on it since like 2017. So now I'm going to go through and talk to you about some things that were on it, that were eyeshadow palettes, and that I don't really care about for one reason or another anymore. And if you have something like this in your collection where like you really lusted after, I don't know, modern renaissance, and then you got a different palette and didn't care about it anymore, please feel free to tell me because I'd love to know. ABH is probably one of my biggest offenders when it comes to palettes that I used to want that I no longer want, and the reason why I think they're such big offenders is because I know their formula is good, so I know even if the color story isn't spectacular, I know I can still get use out of it and I'll still love it and enjoy it. First on that list is the Norvina palette by ABH. The reason that this one fell off for me mostly is because I realized that it wasn't as cool toned as I thought it was. When I first was looking at it, I thought it was pretty cool toned. I thought it was purple. It was back in the times where we didn't have a lot of cool tone releases coming out, and I am a ride or die for cool tones. So I was really into that. I really thought it would be great for a cool tone look. I really love purples. I love that shimmery pink in there too. Like it was just all around wonderful. And then I saw it in person and it turned out it wasn't as cool toned as I thought at all, besides those purple shades like I was saying. It resembled a lot of the modern Renaissance shades and a lot of the soft glam shades. And quite frankly, I feel like I could get the same look as I could with a Norvina palette if I used modern Renaissance and then used a shimmery purple that I already have within my collection. So it kind of fell off for those reasons. However, I still do like it because I know it's a good formula, and if it was on discount somewhere, I might still pick it up. I don't know, I can't guarantee anything. One that I know that I definitely wouldn't pick up from ABH even if it was on discount because I was put into that situation is the Sultry palette. I saw the Sultry palette and thought, oh wow, this is finally once again a cool tone legend and I will love it forever. It'll be perfect. It has a silver, so I guess I was kind of right. Like it has one cool tone shade. Which is ridiculous of me to think that it was cool tone, but this is another one where I saw it in store and then all of a sudden I kind of fell out of love with it. Also, its packaging didn't do it for me, like the shiny, I don't know, it wasn't for me. And the one pop of pink also, that pink looks garish on me. I don't really love it. So all of those factors kind of combined, but I still wanted it at one point and I saw it in a Marshall's. This was my tipping point. I saw it in a Marshall's and it was half off. It was like $27 or $28. And I was like, you know, I could, but then I didn't. I decided I didn't want it that badly, and that's when I knew fully that it was off my wish list. I didn't care about it anymore, because if I really wanted it that badly and I saw it for half off, I would have done it. Like, I've done that in the past with other palettes. So that just confirmed to me that I didn't really want it and it wouldn't fulfill anything in my collection. And just recently, actually, like a couple days ago, one of the accounts I follow on Instagram posted a side-by-side of the BH Cosmetics Royal Affair palette, I believe it's called, and swatches of the Sultry palette. And they were almost exact of each other. Like, there were 3 shades that ABH had that this BH Cosmetics palette didn't have, and I have the BH Cosmetics palette, so I am so happy and so thankful that I did not purchase the ABH one, and it is officially off my wish list. I talked about how ABH is so hard to resist and always ends up on my wish list because of their amazing formula. And now I'm going to go in the complete opposite direction. The next one on my list is the Morphe 35 Eye Palette. Now, for those of you who can't remember, because I can't keep them all straight by their numbers and letters either, the 35 Eye Palette was that big pastel palette that they released in collaboration with Pony a little while ago. This one was a pretty recent one. The reason that I wanted it at first was I was really into pastels. I still am really into pastels. I thought it was really pretty because it was pastel. However, the things that have now deterred me from it and made it fall off my wish list are that they have like pressed glitters in it. I didn't realize that until I was in store, and there's this one like gunmetal gray silver shade that has like a pressed glitter component feel to it, so I didn't like that. I also didn't like the pastels they selected, which is kind of a weird thing to say, but I feel like some of the shades that were pastel didn't really ring true to pastel. I don't know how else to explain it other than I didn't like the array of colors. I thought it was also too many colors. They somehow didn't nail pastel, and they had 35 colors to do it with, so don't know how that worked. 35 colors is just too much, and I also know that Morphe's formula is hit and miss. There were probably shades in that palette that I would never use, never enjoy, so that one fell off my wish list. And the final nail in the coffin for that one actually was the Menagerie Cosmetics Seal Put palette that just came out, which is a pastel palette with some gorgeous trifold shimmers. Absolutely beautiful. I'd rather have that one instead, and that's a good lesson to me that, if I'm not fully in love with something, I should just let it go, because something that I am fully in love with will come out at a later time. Speaking of Menagerie, one of their palettes is actually one that I used to want that is no longer on my wish list, and that is the Feral palette. Now, the reason I wanted the Feral palette in the beginning was people are talking so much about it. It's a Washington-based indie brand, which we love an indie brand, and it was just really unique, and the artwork on the front was gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. Whoever did that, congratulations, you are the best artist on planet Earth. Michelangelo who? Anyway, that palette was just gorgeous in and out. However, it is no longer on my wish list because of the color story and because I realized who I am as a makeup person. I am someone who loves neutrals and boring, bland-ass colors. I am someone who uses makeup in a very utilitarian way, always. I throw it on to go to work, to go to school, or just when I want to feel fancy. And I don't often create big, colorful looks. The colorful shades in my collection hardly ever get used unless they're, slightly colorful, like pastels. And so the Feral palette would have been an awful buy for me, just because I know I won't use that kind of thing very often, and it'll probably just get tucked away, which is a shame for something that is so beautiful. And I know so many people who get so much use out of it, so yeah. That one I'm kind of sad about, but I've realized who I am, and I realized what I'm after. Their newest palette, the Pastel Pup, is really good for me, and also their more neutral Lioness or Lion palette, I can't remember what it's called for the life of me, but that one also is one that is currently on my wish list because I feel like I could get more use out of them, and it's very lovely. Throwing it way, way back, one of the first palettes that I ever lusted after but never bought was the Urban Decay Naked Cherry Eyeshadow Palette. The reason why I was so into this one was because in high school, everyone used to say, oh, if you were a color, you'd be like a dark cherry. And I always wore cherry, dusty mauve lipsticks. I was just into that. I was vibing with that. It was one of my favorite colors ever. And I still really love the color scheme. However, the thing that has put me off this one and has made me finally remove it from my wish list is seeing everyone declutter it. Because I've been watching declutter videos lately, trying to get inspired to do my own declutter or find ways to declutter, as one does. And I've seen a lot of people say that they're decluttering it for this reason or that reason. Most of the reasons revolve around the fact that they don't feel like they can get a cohesive color story out of it. And moreover, they don't feel like they can get multiple looks out of it. And that, to me, would be very important to have something that's very versatile and that I could create a more neutral look or a more gaudy look if I felt like it. So having everything kind of look the same really didn't attract me, and that's what has finally made me take it off my wish list. However, I can say that if I saw it for like $20, I would probably buy it because I just really like it. I like it either way. I know, shoot me, bad purchasing decision, whatever. I like it. Oh well. It's not officially on my wish list, but if I saw it for like an extremely discounted price, I would consider it. How about that? That's how I'll phrase it. Like ABH, ColourPop also tends to end up on my wish list a lot, and ColourPop gets removed from my wish list just as frequently. Here's why. So the first thing that I really loved and wanted from ColourPop was that all yellow 9-pan palette that they put out. I can't even remember the name. That's how much I care about it now, and that's why I'm so glad I didn't buy it. But I really wanted that at first because I was just sucked into the mood of, oh my god, it's summer. I want to, wear a straw hat and sip lemonade or something. I don't know what I was thinking. I am so glad that I didn't buy that because it has a pressed glitter shade. I've heard that ColourPop is kind of, like, it's not the best formula, even if people hype it up a ton. And also because I have accepted the fact that I don't look great in yellows. I think it's because I have a more pinky tone to my skin that it kind of clashes with the yellow in makeup and makes me look like I have jaundice and I'm lying on my deathbed, which I do not want. That is not the purpose of makeup for me. However, I do think yellows are pretty. I am eyeing the one from Midas Cosmetics now. That's kind of replaced that ColourPop yellow one. The Midas Honeycomb palette, I believe it's called. Very beautiful. It has more variation in shades like I want. So yeah, the all yellow palette has been kicked off from ColourPop, and I brought on the Midas yellow palette instead. The other one from ColourPop that I really wanted for absolutely no goddamn reason was the Going Coconuts palette. I don't know why I wanted this palette. It doesn't make reasonable sense to me. I am a neutral queen. That's all. The neutral brown is just my thing. Like I said before, I always wear neutral brown. I love neutral brown. I have so many neutral browns in my collection. So the fact that I wanted this another neutral brown palette blows my mind and just goes to show me that I am very easily tricked by marketing. And very easily tricked into buying something that I already have. So instead, I'll be using the dupes for my collection. I still think it's a beautiful palette. I wouldn't be upset if someone gave it to me, obviously. Yeah, I think it's beautiful. I wouldn't be upset if I had it, but at the same time, I don't need it and I don't need to buy it, and it can exit my wish list just fine. When it comes to neutral palettes, Huda Beauty has caught me in this trap before too. Huda Beauty released the light neutral 9-pan mini palette, and I lost my goddamn mind for a minute because it was just so beautiful. It had that purple shimmer that I wanted out of Norvina in a more cool tone setting. Oh god, loved it. Oh, made me go like insane for it. I'm telling you, this one was the one that almost got me. And I loved it. It was so beautiful. I think about it a lot. However, I realized that I don't need it because I have so many neutrals and because I have a purple shimmer shade that I have multiple purple shimmer shades that I already know and love. So I really don't need this Huda Nudes palette. I think the reason it was so tempting too was because it's all in one, right? Like I don't have to pull a purple out of nowhere to use with my neutral palette. And I need to get over that. I realized that within myself. I'm one of those people who likes to use one palette and won't reach outside to get like another accent shade. So I need to get over that and start doing that more because it would save me a lot of time and money. The other thing that I didn't like about this palette is, I don't know if it's just me, but I have a horrible time discerning the size of makeup when it's in a video. Like the James Charles palette literally looks the size of a pizza box to me, and I can't tell how big it actually is. And then I went into Ulta and it's not that big, and I was like shook. The same thing with little palettes. When I saw the Huda Beauty one, I was expecting like, a decently sized, like maybe like, I don't know what to compare it to, maybe half the size of a book, like a standard big book. I don't know why I was thinking that, because it's not. It's like maybe the size of my palm, if lucky. So I don't know where that came from. And I don't need something that small. I have a lot of small neutral palettes. So that got me over that one. However, Huda then heard my thoughts somehow and said, okay, she doesn't want a neutral palette from us, but she loves pinks and yellows. Well, how can we get her? How can we get her in here? And then she released the rose pastel palette and almost got my soul. The reason why I love the rose pastel palette so much is because it has those pinks and that yellow and that shifty shade in the middle where it's like purple and I don't know. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. That's all I'll say about that. And she heard my thoughts and came up with this and tried to attack me. However, I know I don't need it for the same reasons. A, it's like the size of my palm, and B, Menagerie has already released this very beautiful pastel palette that would do the trick just as well as the Huda palette, and I'd rather support Menagerie anyway. So that is why I don't need that palette. That is it for the palettes that used to be on my wish list but are no longer on my wish list. If you have a palette that used to be on your wish list but is no longer, please tell me in a comment below because I'd love to interact with you and get to know about that. And with all of that being said, continue saving the turtles by trying not to use single-use plastic in your life. I know it's hard, I know it's whatever, but I have to put that PSA out there constantly because it's something that I care about a lot. So with all of that, continue having a wonderful day and being a wonderful person and socially isolating yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!